it's been a roller coaster of a day. We've received the news a few hours ago that a ceasefire agreement has been agreed between the different parties. But while we're rejoicing for those who will see their loved ones reunited with their families soon, we understand that this is only the first phase of an agreement. It will see the release of 33 hostages, and there's still going to be 65 hostages left behind, waiting for the second phase to be determined and agreed upon between Hamas and Israel. So it's hard to be too optimistic. It's a good start, but both parties will have to keep pushing until a resolution is concluded. I'm a bit worried that there will be developments on the ground, developments on the background of negotiations that will make additional phases impossible. But we also have to hold on to the hope that things will evolve in the way we hope they will.
Do you hold out any hope, Moshe, that your brother-in-law will be in the first tranche of hostages released? 33 will be released initially. They'll be made up of the elderly, the young and those who are sick. Do you know if your relative, Omri Miran, might be in that first group?
So Omri turned 47 in April. He was kidnapped when he was 46, and below the age of what Hamas determined are elderly men, 50 years old men. We're not aware of him being considered injured when he was captured, and so he's not within the humanitarian category. But we reject that notion in the first place, that that people call the first phase humanitarian, because in this day, and it's 468 days in Australia since the hostages were kidnapped. To this day, it's everyone, all the hostages are considered a humanitarian case. They've been of water, sanitation, sunlight, tortured, suffering mentally and physically by their abusers, the Hamas terrorist group. And so all the hostages need to be considered humanitarian at this point. So we are very disappointed that that's not the case. And we will keep advocating until Omri is home, until all the hostages are home, because they all deserve to be reunited with their family, and those who were murdered deserve to get their proper burial in the land of Israel.
Do you have any knowledge, Moshe, on how your brother-in-law is? Have previously released hostages been able to give you any news on him?
Yeah, initially we heard from released hostages in November 23, when the first deal between Israel and Hamas was concluded, that they saw Omri, that he was all right, and that he learned that Lishai, my sister, and their two daughters, Roni and Alma, survived October 7th. Late April, there was a Hamas psychological warfare video published featuring Omri, and that was the last time we saw him. Last time we heard of him, he looked very unwell, but we were relieved to see he's alive. But it's been so long since then. April 24, and we're now in January 25. We wish we would have known more about his conditions, about his whereabouts, but the Hamas group doesn't allow the ICRC or other international bodies to visit the hostages, and don't provide them, from our knowledge, any medical care. And so we don't know much about Omri.
And how are your sister and your nieces managing?
It's always difficult to answer this question. On one hand, my sister, a brave heroine, in my opinion, has been managing it amazingly, balancing between being there as the wife of a hostage, advocating for him on every stage in Israel, worldwide, meeting officials like the Prime Minister yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu. And on the other hand, she's a mother. She needs to take care of her two daughters, all survive October 7, have the trauma of October 7. And it's a difficult balance. We try and support them as much as we can, hug them as much as we can, make sure that they get everything they need. But of course, it's difficult. And we haven't processed the entire country, I think, haven't processed October 7, and especially the hostage families, because we've been focusing so much on rescuing our loved ones from captivity.